What if one man's decision almost changed the entire course of American history? Not on a battlefield, not during a war, but inside a quiet room, with a single phone call. In October 1962, the United States discovered something terrifying. Soviet nuclear missiles were being installed in Cuba, just 90 miles from Florida. For the first time in history, American cities were minutes away from nuclear destruction. Washington froze. Military leaders demanded an immediate strike. Bomb Cuba. Invade the island. End the threat now. But one man hesitated. President John F. Kennedy knew something most people didn't. Once the first missile launched, there would be no second chance. Nuclear war doesn't escalate slowly, it explodes. Behind closed doors, the US military prepared invasion plans. Bombers were fueled. Missile silos went on high alert. Submarines armed with nuclear warheads slipped into position. The world was closer to nuclear war than it had ever been, and the public had no idea. As American ships formed a naval blockade around Cuba, Soviet submarines moved underneath them, armed with nuclear torpedoes. Here's the part history almost lost. One Soviet submarine, running out of oxygen and power, was being attacked with depth charges by US forces, not knowing it carried a nuclear weapon. Inside that submarine, 3 officers had to agree to launch the torpedo. 2 said yes, 1 said no. That man's name was Vasily Arkhipov. His refusal stopped a nuclear explosion that would have triggered full-scale war between the US and the Soviet Union. One vote stood between humanity and annihilation. Back in Washington, Kennedy made another risky choice. Instead of attacking Cuba, he opened secret negotiations with the Soviets. No speeches, no public announcements, just quiet messages exchanged at the edge of disaster. Finally, the world exhaled. The Soviet Union agreed to remove the missiles. America agreed secretly to remove its own missiles from Turkey. The crisis ended. No cities were destroyed, no missiles launched. But the truth didn't come out for years. America learned a painful lesson. Technology doesn't prevent catastrophe. Weapons don't guarantee safety. Human judgment does, and even then only barely. Because the Cuban Missile Crisis wasn't a victory, it was a warning that systems fail. Information lies, and survival sometimes depends on one person choosing not to obey. So here's the real question. If the world survived only because a few people hesitated, how safe are we today? And if another moment like this happens, will someone hesitate again? If you want more real American history, where single decisions almost changed the world, subscribe. Because the most dangerous moments aren't the ones we remember, they're the ones we barely survived.